Okay, so this morning's bike session was a solid cycle. Really felt good working around that 100% of FTP for that 5-minute block. And then I think as I kind of tapered down into then the lower cadence stuff, but for a long duration, it started to feel really good. So I'm enjoying how cycling started to feel better. And to be fair, so's my running. Looking forward to reintroducing swimming next week as well. So enough of that, let's kind of talk about the main topic of this video. And I kind of want to lay out my 2024 intentions, races that I've got lined up, and kind of goals that I want to work towards. Just one, for the accountability, so I can put myself out there, but also so you guys know what to expect over the next, say, 9 months and beyond. So this year sees me move away from being more of a strength-focused athlete to more of a hybrid style athlete, where I'm looking to introduce more ultra endurance into my training. So let's talk about 2024 goals specifically and what I'm going to be working towards. So the first race on the calendar is another race with my dad, and it's going to be the Outlaw Nottingham 70.3 triathlon. So that's going to be that 1900 meter swim, that I think 90k bike, and then a half marathon to finish it off. So that race is in 18 weeks time for when this video comes out. And I feel that's enough time for me to kind of give triathlon a proper go and train specifically for this race. Now, the longest triathlon I've done has been an Olympic distance triathlon, which I did last year. And swimming is definitely not my bag, and 1500 meters was definitely a challenge. So going an extra 400 meters is going to be even more of a challenge, let alone everything else after that. But for me, that is what excites me, the fact that I don't know how I'm going to perform, and I have to put in a load of work to get myself ready for that race. I make sure I'm going there to perform rather than just to take part. So when I say perform, something that I learned from my last races last year was I need to race my own race. Even though I'm out to beat my dad, I can only race as hard as I can race. And every time I've got off the bike, because I've pushed it so hard, my running has gone to absolute pot. So this year, my goal is to race my own race. And if I beat my dad, then great. And if I don't, I can take the learnings from that into then my final race of the season. Now, race number 2 of the year is actually an ultra marathon. So you might be thinking, have you done a marathon? Well, I did do a marathon back in 2010. And let's just say I wasn't in fitness at the time. I didn't really know how to train. The furthest I ran was, I think, a half marathon. I did the Windsor half marathon. And then I'd done a lot of cycling, and I thought that was going to prepare me enough for the marathon. And I can tell you it did not. And I think the marathon took me 4.5 hours, I want to say. It's nothing. Essentially, the way I see it is I haven't really done it before. So all I did was essentially survive for 26.2 miles. So I'm going straight to an ultra marathon, and this is 55k up the Brecon Beacons in Wales. So it's basically going to be a 55k trail run up some very steep mountains, a lot of descents, and it's something that I've never done. Now, the reason I'm doing it is because a really good friend of mine has got into ultra endurance, and he's been loving the ultra marathons. And he said to me, do you want to do it as well? I thought, why not? It's 3 weeks post the half Ironman, so I should be in good physical fitness. And then as long as I do enough running specific training in the lead up, I've got 21 weeks essentially from this video to get myself 55k ultra marathon ready. So what can go wrong? And then lastly, my final race of the season is Ironman 70.3 Weymouth, which is on the 15th of September, which is 36 weeks away from the release of this video. Now, the way I see Ironman 70.3 Weymouth to be is that will be my A race. So my first race at the Outlaw 70.3 gives me a taste of what it's like. Then obviously, because I've got my ultra marathon 3 weeks later, I'm doing a lot of overrunning essentially in this prep. So I'll be running right up beyond a marathon distance in training. And if you're training for a half Ironman, you don't need to run that much. So the way I see it as is post ultra marathon, I can then get very specific. I can get myself ready for that half Ironman at the end of the year, well, in September. Now, as well as all this ultra endurance training, I still want to stay strong. I still want to stay powerlifting strong, because for me, I love squat, bench, and deadlift. I want to make sure I maintain as much strength as I can in those movements while still pursuing these ultra endurance goals. Now, I've given myself a goal of trying to maintain around a 600 kilo total. Now, to put that that into perspective, I totaled 630 kilos at this last powerlifting competition, which you guys saw, without training too much for it. So the way I see it as is if I can still maintain some good squat, bench and deadlift sessions over this prep, and I still touch those high heavy loads, I should be able to still maintain a good enough total. So when I come out post 70.3 in September, I should be in a good position to keep building on my strength. Because to me, strength training is the foundation to everything that I do. Now, shall we add any more stressors to my body? Why not try to also have a fat loss phase in all of this? Now, you might be thinking, what the are you doing? Are you gonna not only switch your training to more of an ultra endurance style training, you're gonna try and stay strong, and you're gonna try and get lean? That's a lot to ask the body to do. And yes, it is a lot to ask the body to do. So there's a very high chance of failure if I don't listen to my body and if I don't look to change things along the way. And that's one of the most important parts about these videos, is I want to bring you guys along for the journey to see if I can not only sustain all this work capacity on my body, but can I do it without letting other areas of my life really get impacted. And if they do start to get impacted more than what I feel is appropriate, then I will have to look to adjust and see where I can make some changes. Now, how much fat am I looking to lose? Well, it's not really an aesthetic thing. Don't get me wrong, I want to look good. But I'm currently sitting at around 104 kilos, so it's pretty heavy. So post powerlifting competition, I've kept on those couple of Christmas kilos, so I want to get myself down to that 94 kilo mark. Why 94 kilos? For me, I feel being this heavy and running is really tough. So I want to drop some weight to try and give my joints a better chance of sustaining the load that I'm going to put through them. So I've given myself the target of around 94 kilos because I feel that would be a nice amount of weight for me to still look good and then hopefully keep my body feeling relatively fresh from running 4 times a week. So how am I going to achieve all of this while still working on my business and still also having a family and still trying to recover as much as I can in between all this training? To be honest, I have no idea. I'm sure I'll be fine. Well, that's what I'm telling myself anyway. So what I will be doing is making sure I'm progressively overloading my body just enough and paying attention to maybe if my body doesn't respond well to maybe a certain amount of volume or maybe to a specific type of running. Now, I've already noticed in my own training at the moment that whenever I go for a faster paced run, so closer to threshold run, my body really struggles to recover from that. So what I've decided to do just for this first few weeks is to make sure I'm mainly focusing on easy runs and building up that volume, and then I can look to add the intensity maybe in a month or two's time. So I'm going to do a separate video where I break down my training and how I plan to achieve the ultra endurance goals while still maintaining my strength, while also dropping body fat, while also maintaining my life balance of some sort. But as a very quick overview for you guys now, my rough week will look like Monday will be a swim, Tuesdays will be a run and some upper body, Wednesdays will be a cycle and some lower body, Thursdays will be a run and a full body session, Fridays is my off day because it's my busiest work day, Saturday will be my brick session most likely, and Sunday will be my long run. I may interchange those two, my Saturday, Sunday, but I'm gonna just kind of play that one by ear. And once we get a little bit closer towards the half Ironman, the first one in particular, I'm gonna then look to add in an open water swim, maybe on the Wednesday, but I'm gonna kind of deal with that as and when. And for me, I feel the swimming, I'm not looking to necessarily win the 70.3 races or anything like that. I'm looking to perform the best I can. And for me, I think I have a better chance at performing better on the bike and the run and keeping my swim probably bang average, if not below average, because I want to think how much time can I actually make up in the swim compared to how much time can I make up in my bike and my run. But I'm going to kind of take you guys along for the journey and see about what changes that I make as I progress through this journey. Now, when it comes to the fat loss phase, this is where I'm going to have to play it by ear. But what I'm starting out at is around a 10% to 15% deficit of my maintenance calories. So that's going to put me around that 2500-2600 calorie mark. Now, what I'm ensuring I'm doing, I'm getting plenty of protein, I'm keeping my carbohydrates quite high, and I'm having about 1 gram per kilo of body weight of fat in my diet. Now, I'm not too stressed about hitting my macros on my fat and my carbohydrate intake. I wanna make sure I hit my protein target, and I wanna make sure I hit my calorie target. And I'm gonna try to get close to my carbohydrate and fat allowance, but I'm gonna let that change and be based on how I'm feeling that day and the foods that I fancy that day. So what I am doing is weighing myself daily, just to kind of keep me accountable, and also taking weekly video updates of my physique. So I done one which was on New Year's Day, so you can see here, this is how I'm looking at the moment, quite fluffy. And then I did do a physique update after an upper body pump, and just the difference is night and day, but I wanted to make sure I know what I look like when I'm just woken up and what I also look like when I'm pumped up from an upper body session, because these two looks are two very different things, but they are still the same person. So I want to make sure I know what I look like so I can look at my progress and be very subjective over the time frame of this fat loss phase. So in summary, I want to do it all. I want to bring you guys along for the journey, and I want to see how much I can do over these next 9 months. I want to share all the things that I might come up against, some of the things that are working, maybe some of the things that aren't. I want to show you the strategies that I'm putting in place to recover faster, and all the foods that I'm fueling myself with to give myself the best possible chances at performing at my highest potential. So I would love it if you guys would join me for this 2024 season. I'm asking a lot of myself because I want to push my boundaries of what I think is my abilities. So if you do want to join me for this journey, don't forget to subscribe so you can keep up to date with all my weekly uploads. Outside of the weekly uploads, I do want to put some more how-to videos on topics that I get asked a lot, especially as a personal trainer. I get a lot of health and fitness questions, so I want to cover some of those topics in videos to hopefully help you guys out too. And I'd love to hear about your goals. What are your goals for 2024? Drop them in the comment section down below and I'll be sure to get back to you there. I'd love to hear what my community is also doing. And if you do want to show some support, a cheeky like would be really appreciated, just to kind of give me that final bit of motivation to hopefully bring all this content to you guys and hopefully entertain you while I'm doing it. Because there's a high chance I might crash and burn. Not gonna lie, but if I do, I want to give you guys the honest truth about how I'm feeling and the troubles and the issues I may come up against. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I look forward to sharing this journey with you guys, and I'll see you next week.